about that. Let's see what's got Britain talking this Friday with Gyles and Alison.
Good morning, both of you.
You too. We are going to kick off with the state visit, or the end of the state visit, I suppose. Last night, Donald Trump and Melania left the UK after their unprecedented second state visit. What are the key takeaways, Alison?
Well, it has been a huge success, really. So I think the biggest thing is that with it, we saw this £30 billion investment from American firms in this country, which is going to mean jobs, real jobs across the country. So that's a fantastic positive. And the other thing, I think, is that we've seen that this relationship between Keir Starmer and Donald Trump, which might not necessarily seem to be an obvious friendship, does seem to have legs. It does seem to be ongoing. And I think it's going to help them on foreign policy things. And we all know Donald Trump's not an easy character to handle, but I do think the Prime Minister's done a good job on this one.
Charles?
The reason I'm wearing my King Charles III jumper with pride is I think this is a week that reminded us there is a value to the monarchy.
Yeah.
The reason that Donald Trump was so keen to come was because he was given the most amazing reception at Windsor Castle a couple of days ago. I mean, it really was spectacular. And he was given this state banquet, and he clearly enjoyed it, and he was on best behaviour, and the King did his stuff above party politics. It is 1,000 years of history. Windsor Castle is 4 times as old as the United States of America.
Yeah.
I mean, that is amazing. So, from Trump's point of view, he arrived and he was treated really properly and graciously. And the benefit is to the United Kingdom. We are getting a better deal on the tariffs than many other countries. And he seems also to actually genuinely to have accepted. He likes to have friends.
Yes.
He wants to be liked.
He loves to be affirmed, doesn't he?
He does. And Keir Starmer's managed to do that very successfully because, for example, on Gaza, they are taking a very different view. Trump's view is you don't recognise Palestine at this point in time. He thinks that is saying to the people in Gaza, you did the right thing, Hamas, in what you did on October the 7th. That's Trump's view. Starmer's view is quite different. But what was interesting is that Trump didn't interrupt him and say, you've got it wrong, this is what I think. He accepted we have a difference of view. So Keir Starmer, while there may be, and I hear there are, manoeuvres in Downing Street and amongst the Labour Party, because they think maybe if things don't go well next May at the local elections, they've got reservations about him. There is no doubt, in my view, that internationally he has played his cards well.
Yes, and I mean, that must have been a really quite worrying moment where you're going into press conference with Donald Trump there because you never know what he might say at that point. But actually, he was very courteous, gracious, and it all went very well. So it's been a good week.
There was one point where he did throw Keir Starmer under the bus when he was talking about...
Mandels.
Yes, when he was talking about him, he did kind of throw him under the bus there.
Wait, I don't think he threw him under the bus. They're both political animals. He was asked the question, and the great joy with Trump is he can say anything he likes.
Yes.
He denied ever having...
Didn't know him.
I don't know.
I've never met him.
I don't know if it's that great joy, or I look at him and go, what? Where do we go from that? After the head of the free world just making stuff up as it goes along. What happens next?
But we know that is his style. So I don't know him, but maybe you want to answer this. You know,
But then possibly, to be fair to Donald Trump, I mean, he didn't know Mandelson in terms of, like, they weren't friends. He'd met him. I don't know whether Trump would regard that as knowing someone. But anyway, he handed that...
There you go.
They have met.
They have met, and better than that, he admired his accent. You remember? A beautiful accent.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so beautiful. Such a beautiful accent. I wish I could speak like that.
But that whole thing, bearing in mind with Jeffrey Epstein and Trump's involvement with Jeffrey Epstein and Peter Mandelson's involvement with Jeffrey, could have ended so much worse. But actually, it wasn't too bad.
It's a win for everybody, I think.
And I guess if you go back, this is realpolitik, isn't it? It's literally... This is like, if you get into office, you have to be pragmatic because, you know, your two biggest partners are Europe and America. And you want good relationships, irrespective of who's in power at the time.
And there was that moment when Keir Starmer went to the White House and he handed over the invitation, and some people were sort of slightly cringing, but it has played out, it has worked. The only question now is, what more can be offered during Donald Trump's term in office? Well,
possibly the poor king, the king, will go to America.
Yes.
And there'll be a reciprocal visit. There's talk of that.
And I think also final mention has to go to Kate, who was fantastic this week. She sat next to Trump during the dinner. She was there visiting the Scouts.
So the ladies had a lovely time, didn't they? Melania, Kate and Camilla.
Yes.
At the State Village.
They did.
They had 20 squirrel scouts, took part in nature activities as well.
Yeah, it was great. And William and Kate met Donald Trump off of the helicopter when they first arrived. I mean, she was fantastic.
They look incredible, these.
Yeah, they do.
No, it was a fun day. And Queen Camilla, another reason I'm wearing this is Queen Camilla has this charity called the Queen's Reading Room.
Yeah.
And they've got a big event at Chatsworth this weekend that I'm going to. But Queen Camilla showed Melania the Queen Mary doll's house, which is a miniature, well, it's a beautiful doll's house with miniature books in it, and, you know, a bathroom that works.
Little books.
Little miniature books. You know?
It's a great charity, that, Gyles, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a great charity. There's a little miniature Gruffalo by Julia Donaldson, and I think there's a recipe fit for the Queen by Tom Parker Bowles' little miniature version of that.
But Melania seemed to really enjoy herself as well.
But these images are quite important, though, aren't they? That they're getting on.
I think it's good for people to know people.
Yeah.
You can't know everybody well. I think Donald Trump is admitting now that he doesn't know Putin as well as he thought he knew Putin. It was an interesting admission yesterday in that press conference. He said, I thought I could solve this because I thought I knew Putin.
That was interesting.
Quite unlike him, that.
Really, I thought it's like the first bit of humility, really, you've ever seen from Donald Trump. It's interesting.
OK, let's move on to the next story. A new study has found that some bosses across the country admit that they avoid hiring pregnant women even though it breaks discrimination laws. I mean, this is quite serious, isn't it? If people are actually admitting this, it's unbelievable. Research from Bath University analysed data on workplace pregnancy and maternity discrimination. It suggested a direct and indirect discrimination against pregnant women and maternity leave takers.
Yes, so it's quite an interesting piece of research. I think it was 23 out of 37 managers said that they would be inclined not to appoint somebody who was pregnant. But I think the mistake these people are making is they are depriving themselves of potentially their very best employees by doing this. I mean, some of the best people that I've worked with are people that have got very young children, or they're coming back after maternity leave. Because really, that point when you are having a child is one tiny, small part of your working life. And those women have got so much to offer.
The challenge is, if you are a very small company with a handful of employees, you're looking for somebody new, business is very, very tough to employ somebody who, quite rightly, you want to give them time off in order to have their baby and to look after their baby when they're very small. That is going to be quite an ask.
And costly.
And costly. You know, a four-person business, if two people turn up, one is evidently pregnant, the other isn't, and they seem to have equal qualities to give, I can understand why the small business person thinks, I've got to make ends meet, and this person can work for me straight away and work through. I'm with you. I'm in favour of the Equality Act 2010, totally. There should be no discrimination at work. All I'm saying is I can understand, in the case of a small business, how this can happen.
Do you think there should be more provision? I mean, it's very easy to say this because, you know, we're all strapped, aren't we, as a country, but more provision for small businesses from a sort of governmental level to support them through helping people through maternity and paternity leave.
Definitely more support for businesses, but also more support for women so they can get back, who want to go back to work and who want to be earning money for their families. I mean, that bit of legislation we've seen recently about nursery provision. I've got two nieces that are about to go back to work after their babies, and that's making a massive, big chunk of difference to what they can do.
Exactly?
So effectively, it's going to work out like about £7,000 a year for them in free nursery places. It's great.
Oh, it's massive, it's massive. I can remember coming back after having Ada. I was so excited, I couldn't wait. My first interview was with, what's his name? Oh, I totally forgot. Will Smith.
Yeah.
Will Smith. And I literally went back to work and I was on fire.
Yeah.
One of the best interviews I've ever done. I think because you're just ready to go back to work, aren't you?
That fire has never been extinguished.
Thank you so much for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every single day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button and we'll see you in the morning.